Hi, I'm Dr. Robert, and this is going to be the journey before I knew I was introverted and how hard it was at that time, and how I came to realize how I was actually an introvert 9 years later. It all began when my parents got separated, and not in a very peaceful way. I was very young and haven't reached teen age, and I had three younger siblings. So it was a pretty tough time for us because one day we came back from school and our mom was nowhere to be seen. They usually fight when we were asleep, so she was basically gone, which means they got divorced. To top the stress on, the next day we packed everything and left for our hometown, unprepared with our dad. And that's how a new dimension of life began for us. It came in a way we've never expected. We came back to our hometown and we were received by our stepmom without knowing how our mom is actually doing, or where she is, or what's the situation. We knew nothing and we just kept walking in the dark because he cut off any means of communication between us. We were super confused and sad to the extent we secretly cried every night in our room together. I know I'm sharing a bit too much and it still bothers me till this day. I know I can never forget those incidents, but I'm gonna try and move on by helping others in similar situations. So it was actually a rough time with our stepmom. You all know how it ends. But for me, at the same time, I was struggling to get along with people outside my home. I was basically looking for the love I lost from my mom to outsiders. I tried to socialize more, but it always ended up going south. Then I started bad mouthing myself, thinking I was the problem. I was the one who needs to get fixed. Eventually, I started learning how to fit in, get approval from other people, and attached my source of happiness to everyone I met, which was a pretty dumb thing to do, to be honest. The more I tried to socialize with people, the more I suck at it, and I knew nothing about extroversion and introversion. All I know was if you're alone and can't get along with people, you are just a coward. My mentality was just if I'm to be a full person, I have to be social and good with people, which was not the case. I was in a different environment with different kinds of people. I knew I had to adjust, but the problem was I never knew where to start. After being in those situations for several months, I started drawing as an escape. I started sketching cars. I realized how free I was when I'm interacting with my pen and paper. I definitely sucked at it at first, but it was fun. Although I was still struggling with socializing and getting approval from people. But this time I could actually have something for myself, except in schools and other social settings in which my life turns to be a misery. And that's how I continued for years until the pandemic hits. I know for some it was a very tough time, a time they would never wished for. I know we lost loved ones. Everyone has their own stories. But for me, despite all the chaos, it actually lifted me. Being isolated from everyone and everything, my source of happiness was cut off. And there I was, alone and lonely. But as time progresses, I slowly started to find who I am. I started finding more hobbies that makes me happy. And eventually, I found passion. And that passion changed me. That passion made me realize many things. And that passion was to become a YouTuber. Through that, I started to live in a new dimension. I was a creative person, but it was like the creativity was locked. And deciding to be a YouTuber was the freaking key, man. Until this day, I'm very proud of that. I was basically immersed in this world of arts, learning and creating. And school slowly became far and far down the list. I was actually embracing the characteristics of being an introvert without knowing. I was an introvert without knowing I was an introvert. Not until 2 years ago, in 2021, I came across the word introvert. I'm a very curious person, so I digged deeper and learned all these habits, characteristics, and mindset that I have were all of an introverted person. And that was amazing because what I learned from that was it's not a problem to be introverted in this modern world. We treat introversion as a disease that no one wants to be infected with, which is not the case. I'm actually glad I got infected by it, and I can proudly say I am an introvert, which I probably should try and socialize a bit more. But nah, it's too draining. Thanks for watching my dumb video.